Hello, Fellowship family. This is Pastor Leversey, and I want to take some time just to encourage your heart from God's Word concerning some of the things that we see happening in our culture, particularly around the areas of health concern. Now, I wanted to read you a verse from 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 7. This is Paul writing to his son in the faith, Timothy, because Timothy deals with some fear about things and some anxiety concerning the ministry. And this is how Paul encourages him. Notice with me. Paul writes, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind." Now, I know that we are entering into the fall and winter season, to the cold and the flu season, and many people are going to be going to doctors with all kinds of different symptoms. And as they do, they're going to be tested. And as more people are tested, we're more than likely going to see more positive COVID cases than we did in the summer, perhaps even connected with our church. So how do we handle that? How do we deal with that? How do we move on as a church? How do we approach this biblically? Well, I want us to know, first of all, how we shouldn't approach it. We shouldn't approach it with the spirit of fear. God doesn't give us that spirit. If we're fearful and afraid, that does not come from God. Fear can grip us, and it can keep us from walking in faith. And we do not want to find ourselves in that position at any point. So we're not to operate in fear. Don't allow fear to dictate every decision you make during these times. So how are we to operate? What do we have that we are to work from? Well, the Bible in the same verse says that we have been given the spirit of his power. That's a great thing. We believe in God. We believe he has the power to save. And we believe not only does he have the power to save, he has the power to heal. He has the power to protect. And so we're going to operate in the faith of that, knowing that God can protect us and he can heal us. We're going to operate in the spirit of love, is what it says here in this verse. Hey, there are going to be people in our community that will get sick. There are going to be people in our church that are going to get sick. And we need to love them and care for them and continue to be the church, to pray for them. They need to continue to be able to tune into live streams so that as they're recovering, they can be encouraged in their heart. And so we're going to love them and continue to minister to them. We need to love those that still aren't connecting yet. Perhaps they have grave health concerns and they cannot make it to church because they are concerned about having another health issue. We need to love them and minister to them and write notes of encouragement to them. We need to have that spirit of love and patience. And we also see from this verse that we are to have the spirit of a sound mind. We have to be able to, as the Bible calls it, walk circumspectly. Look at the times that we live in. Look at what's really going on. And as we walk in this spirit, the spirit of God, the spirit of power, the spirit of love, the spirit of a sound mind, I believe we can make clear decisions about what God would have us to do. Hey, listen, we see that there's a virus out there. We see that there are people that are getting sick. Some get sicker than others. Some with severe health complications have even passed away. But as we look at it in light of other sicknesses and other diseases and other things that have attacked the church throughout history, we see that we're in no different position now than we've been in the past to continue to serve God, to continue to walk with him, to continue to worship together, to continue to share Jesus with our community. Now, this isn't the first time the church has encountered difficulties. There have been other diseases and pestilences the church has had to deal with. There have been persecutions and famines that the church has had to deal with. And the church didn't give up and run away. The church, in fact, in many of those cases, ran toward the difficulty so that they could serve others in need and so they could get the gospel to people who were sensitive to the gospel. That's who I want to be. I don't want to be a Christian that's controlled by fear. I want to be a Christian that's controlled by the Spirit of God, who's controlled by the Spirit of his power, by the Spirit of his love, and that I have a sound mind to be able to reason concerning what God would have me to do. In light of that, I want to share with you how we're going to approach this season where we could potentially see an increase in positive COVID tests with people that are connected to our church. We're not planning on shutting the doors of our services. We're not planning on suspending our services. We may adjust some schedules and classes and maybe even cancel some events depending upon what we're hearing and how the Lord leads. But we do believe that in these last days, the church needs to be the church. The church does need to trust God. I hope that you'll follow me in that. Listen, I don't take being the pastor of this church lightly. I love our church. I love the people in our church. I would never desire to do anything that would bring them harm or difficulty. But we live in a world that's full of sickness and disease. We live in a world that's full of discord and disunity. We live in a world that's full of uncertainty. And I want to draw us to the things that are certain. The power of our God is certain. His callings in our life are certain. His calling for the church is certain. And I believe that we're in a position where we can continue to do that. So you can check in here at this website as often as you'd like. We're going to keep it updated real time with any reports that we hear that we feel like we need to pass on to you. Of course, we're not naming names so that we can protect people's privacy, but you'll have a very good indication of, people who are connected with our church that may encounter this issue with COVID. Also know that just because we put it on this website doesn't mean that it's originated with our church or that our church is a hotbed for it. I believe that we're going to see this all over our country as we enter into flu and cold season. But we still need to be the church. Church, would you pray about that? Would you be encouraged in what God has told us from his word here? And would you know that there's many great things that are ahead for us as a church as we're faithful to him? God bless you. We love you. And we look forward to worshiping with you again real soon. God bless.